As a kid, shoot 'em ups were a popular choice. They were action-packed, fast-paced, and gave an arcade experience from the comfort of your own home, and without a machine continuously taking your money and having parents asking where your pocket money went. They were intentionally difficult, and you relied on a combination of quick reflexes and memory. They were frustrating, causing controllers or joysticks to go flying across the room, yet fun to attempt to master. Team 17's Project X, Apidya, and Silkworm are some of my most memorable. And the game we're looking at today brings back the days of those games, but with a few modern twists at the same time. Super Hydorah is a shoot 'em up game developed by Loco Malito, with the soundtrack composed by Gryzor87, and is published by Abbey Light Studios. It released on Steam September 20th, 2017, along with the PS4 and PS Vita. Super Hydorah offers classic shoot 'em up gameplay, but with a non-linear level progression with multiple endings, creating an excellent combination of the old and the new. You take on the role of the most skilled and deadly pilot in the human fleet, who are under attack by an alien race with cybernetic beings called the Meropians. You need to make your way to where the war is taking place, and once there, blast your way through the enemy lines and destroy their war core. But not all is quite as straightforward as it may seem. The plot to the game is quite simple in many regards. Fight your way through the enemies and kill the bad guy. But what makes things slightly different is that there are actually multiple endings to the game. I haven't been able to figure out exactly how different endings trigger, as I'm not the best at this game, but my theory on how it works is that it depends on the routes you take when selecting levels. The reason for my theory is in a specific level you destroy this sort of orb. Upon doing so, a creature appears warning you of what you've done. So depending what route you take, I theorize determines the ending that you will receive. That is if, like me, you will get any ending. Having multiple endings really gives the game a large amount of replayability, something that is often missing in the shoot 'em up genre, and really helps make the $20 price tag a lot more worth it. Overall, the general plot doesn't do anything that different. It's got its Star Wars and Independence Day influences, but it adds in enough of its own creativity too. It won't blow you away, but if you like a bit of story alongside your action, then it will probably do just about enough to keep you pleased. The gameplay to Super Hydorah is about what you'd expect of the genre. You progress through each level killing everything that moves, while avoiding the terrain and shots of the enemies in the process. While killing enemies, they will drop orbs which keep turning from green to purple. Picking up a green one will increase the power of your main weapon, and the purple will increase the power of your secondary weapon. Specific enemies will drop power-ups which too act the same way as the orbs, where they will continue to switch colour and letter. Each of these result in a different power-up. The arrow increases your ship's speed up to 3 times total. The S gives you a shield allowing 1 free hit, and the yellow gives you a special ability, a powerful and limited attack. Having the power-ups and orbs switching until you pick them up results in there being quite a bit of strategy in the game. Do you choose speed or a shield? Do you choose a special attack or speed? And so on. All are useful, and picking up the right power-up at the right time can make a difference in a level, and it works really well. The one big issue I have is the ship's speed. Even when you have its speed upgraded 3 times, I found it to move quite slowly, making it hard to avoid faster enemies. For a lot of the enemies it isn't too much of a problem, but for some enemies that are fast, it is hard to dodge either them or their attacks. As for the weapons, you are rewarded with a new one upon completing almost every level. It can be either a primary, secondary or special weapon. What ones are unlocked are set depending on how many levels you've completed. What route you take makes no difference in the order of your weapons unlocking. The primary weapons consist of railguns, spread fire and a powerful laser beam, just to name a few. The secondary weapons consist of bombs or assistant mini-ships called scoreds. And finally, the special weapons are powerful one-off uses that require you to pick up a special power-up to use. Each weapon has its own advantages and disadvantages when using them. For example, the widespread allows you to shoot across a wide area, but it is weak, while the laser is the opposite, dishing out massive damage but only in a straight line. The same applies to the secondary weapons. For example, the bombs are only extremely effective in levels that have ground, but can also damage friendly structures, resulting in you losing points in the process. The scores allow for extra damage and can be used to block enemy fire if positioned right, but getting the hang of them as a shield. is very difficult indeed. The problem with the weapons is that some levels are a bit too difficult before the more powerful weapons become available. For example, on the third level you get to choose between two routes to take. One of the route leads to a level that has a boss that is simply too difficult without the laser weapon, but you don't unlock that weapon until after that level, forcing you to take the other route. So yes, there is some imbalance between what levels you receive new weapons and the bosses you face, which makes an already brutally difficult game even harder. Aside from that problem and the speed of the ship, there is little else to really complain about when it comes to the gameplay of Super Hydorah. It is a classic shoot 'em up experience that anyone who loves the genre will enjoy, as long as they are ready for the extreme difficulty that comes with it. The level design of Super Hydorah is where the modern twists of the game really start to come into play. Each level has its own unique enemies, but it isn't just the enemies that are the threats. Each level has environmental or nature-like threats that the player will need to deal with along with the enemies. These threats come in the form of weather conditions, like some planets will have sandstorms as an example, while other levels will have asteroid fields, or in one level with a giant tree, you need to deal with the ever-growing vines that grow out of it. These environmental threats work well to create unique and challenging levels, but they do come with a downfall too. Some of these threats can make an already hard game crucifyingly difficult. An example of this would be the ruby field, where you have ruby asteroids firing shards at you from all directions, or an ice planet where ice keeps refreezing after you destroy it, killing you if caught in it. There's already so much going on with the game being a shoot 'em up without having to worry about such threats too. The levels are all unique and well designed, and when the environmental threats work well, they really do create a special experience that no other shoot 'em up can. But they do come as a double-edged sword, sometimes making the game almost unbearable in difficulty. There is a whole lot to enjoy and appreciate when it comes to the passion and hard work that has gone into Super Hydorah. The retro graphics are simply wonderful, the soundtrack is fitting in sheer brilliance, and the gameplay is classic yet adds modern twists to create a unique experience. The design of the enemies is impressive, as is the sheer number of them in the game, that being over 100. For the most part, the gameplay works and is without a doubt a good game. But when compared to my all-time favourites of the genre, it is easily the most difficult game I've played, with some levels causing me to continue 10 or more times, losing my score each time. I don't mind difficult games, but when that harshness is created by oversights that are out of the player's control, then it does lessen the overall experience. It is a good game, but it needs a few tweaks here and there to make it an exceptional one, and with that, I give Super Hydorah a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed my time with Super Hydorah, but when the game's biggest problems begin to make it obnoxiously challenging, my drive to keep playing began to dwindle. It is a game that fans of the genre will enjoy, but it is only those who are looking for an extreme challenge or have the patience of a saint that will ever see the game to its end.